Poetry for Students is an anthology, which means it's a collection of works by different authors. The Poetry for Students collection is located in the reference section of the library. We currently have volumes 1 through 60. You can use volume 60's index to search for a particular poet or poem, and then that will guide you to which volume that poem can be found in. When selecting your poem for your signature paper, please remember that you must have 5 sources. If all 5 sources are inside the Poetry for Students anthology, it makes your work cited, quick, and painless. One source must be your poem text. Sometimes the poem text is inside the article written for Poetry for Students. When it is, that makes it nice when doing your works cited. However, when it isn't inside the Poetry for Students, you must find that poem text from another source. That could be a book in the library, that could be an online database like Gale, EBSCO, or you can search for it online. Now, after you find the poem text from another source, you'll need to create a citation, and I recommend NightCite, which is online. Before making a selection of a poem in Poetry for Students, check how many sources are in the article. Your first source is the introductory material, the author biography, the poem summary, the themes, the style, historical context, and the critical overview. All of this information, all of the introductory material, the author biography, poem summary, themes, style, historical context, and the critical overview, all of that counts as only one source. Even though it has different headings, it's just one source. It's your intro material. In the citation guide that I made for you, and I've also printed for you, I have explained thoroughly how to cite this introductory material. Don't worry about that right now, just count that as one. Your second source is the actual poem text. If it's in Poetry for Students, you'll use the citation guide that I printed for you to cite the poem. If it's not, remember you'll go to another source like a book in the library, an online database like Gale or EBSCO, or search online for that, and then you'll have to get your citation from NightCite. Your third, fourth, and fifth sources will come from critical essays written by a variety of authors. These are inside of Poetry for Students. I'll explain later the different types of critical essays, which will help you with your citations. For now, let's simply count the number of critical essays included. Under the subheading Criticism, you'll see a name. This is the author of the first criticism, Dusty Robeson. 4 pages later, you can see the source information. We will use this source information when we're writing the work cited. And all of that is in the citation guide that I'll go over at a different time. Our fourth source will come from this next critical essay written by Keith Tuma. Again, at the end of Mr. Tuma's essay, you can see the citation information. The fifth source will come from Josie Rawson. The source information is written at the bottom of this criticism. And this particular poem has 6 sources. The 6th one comes from Reno Oldland. The source information for Reno's critical essay is found at the bottom. When you're ready to make copies, please make sure you make a copy of the title page and the title verso. That's the back of the title page. So you'll need both of those to create your citations using my guide. Please make sure that you find a time in the next 2 weeks to make these copies. Unfortunately, I don't have as much time in my day this year since I teach every period. So you're going to need to do that during your off period, during lunch, during break, before and after school.